this day, the author of this essay remains unknown, as does its veracity. Is the story true? Most of it is, and some of it likely is not. Though to me that was never so important. 9 Famous Irishmen has persisted, a little nugget of Irish mythology, the very kind of historical gem found on posters, placemats, the backs of pub menus, a sheet of paper left in a drawer to be read over corned beef and cabbage around the dinner table on St. Patrick's Day. So ignore the details. Push whatever inaccuracies there might be aside. Stories like this persist not because they are necessarily true, but because they speak to a larger truth. And this truth we can probably all agree on. A large number of men, women and children left Ireland, the country of their birth, and went out into the world to do great things. Whether it was political violence that drove them, whether it was hunger, oppression, or just the dream of a better life, off they went, first in ships, later in planes, into the unknown. This was the Irish diaspora. What I found meaningful, what I still find meaningful, why I carried this essay with me, a photocopy in a shoebox of letters carted around for 3 decades, is the idea that 9 young men could have died quite brutal deaths, but instead they left and went on to lead extraordinary lives, to achieve so much. All the energy, the brightness and daring in those 9 young men, it could so easily have been snuffed out. But that didn't happen. Instead, that energy was released, sent out on a boat across the seas where it would touch so many lives, light up a new world. There is nothing much any of us can do about the circumstances into which we are born, our parents, our class, our country. But these are the factors that by and large determine our lives, that most often shape who we are and what we are able to accomplish. Yet, since time immemorial, humans have struggled against this. Whether they were forced to flee their homes or left of their own volition, they have chosen to believe in the possibility of a different life, a better future. Roughly 50,000 years ago, our Afro-Asian ancestors built crude boats and headed across the waters to Australia. About 15,000 years ago, foragers in northern Siberia made their way to Alaska pursuing better game, and then later, once the ice sheets had receded, pressed south further into North America. In a way, the journey of those 9 famous Irishmen, along with the millions of other Irish immigrants, mirrors that movement, the movement of mankind itself, the perhaps uniquely human drive that has settled the planet and brought about civilization as we know it. Certainly, no country in modern history has benefited from this drive more than the United States. Not just because we have been the recipients of so many Irish, but because we have been, and still are, the recipients of so many other peoples too. Immigrants from elsewhere fleeing hardship, fleeing pain, and want. I was born here because my great-grandparents, who were Jewish, put their belongings in a bag and boarded a ship. If maybe that sounds easy, it wasn't. Once here, they became storekeepers, seamstresses, traveling salesmen. My grandfather owned the Westville movie theater in New Haven, Connecticut. My grandmother was a school teacher. My other grandparents were lawyers in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I am now a part of that continuum, just as my children, whom I've moved out west to California, will be. This book exists for a fairly simple reason. I wanted to share the stories of 9 Irish lives. Not the famous Irishmen from the essay above, but 9 other men and women who left Ireland and came to America. Spanning generations from the dawn of our republic to today, their lives paint a particular portrait of our nation's rise. Through the battles they fought, the cases they argued, the words they wrote, the people they helped, these 9 Irish men and women not only became American, but also helped make America great. The essays that follow were written by 9 contemporary Irish Americans, journalists,